Hey there, Drawyah here, and welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator. Today, it's actually a big one, as today we take flight in the biggest of the Airbus A320 series aircraft, the Airbus A321. So, thanks to Canadian Mods, thanks to Wasabi Sniper, we now have the FSX A321 ported into Microsoft Flight Simulator. And yeah, it should be quite a lot of fun this. So, flying the classic Orbit Airlines colours. I'm sure another airline that everybody remembers from the good old FSX days. And fingers crossed, all goes to plan, we will fly to Moscow today, London Heathrow to Moscow. And when we land in Moscow, if there's no major issues, no problems with the aircraft, we'll be able to release it basically straight away from there and see where it goes from that. So, should be a fun one. Should be a good one. Flying Orbit Airlines today, flying the A321. Let's get in the aircrafts and prepare it for flights. First things first, overhead panel, batteries on, solar power sets, navigation sets, cruise supply sets, emergency lights, arm them, no smoking automatic, navigation on, straight automatic. Set the temperatures to about the midpoint. The fuel pumps stay off until the fuel truck gets here, and once that's fueled, fuel pumps come on, and then bring the aircrafts to life. Right, perfect. That's all set. That's all set. Right. Next step, FMF, CMCDU. Let's program that and get it free to go. So the A321. So it's the A321 external model, A320neo cockpit. It's all virtually the same thing, but a very small difference in that the overhead panel is missing one extra button. I'm not quite sure what it does. And also the flat config is ever so slightly different, but in terms of cockpit setup, it's basically exactly the same thing. Nothing to issue with there. Right. Initialization, let's program our flight. Echo Golf Lima Lima to Uniform Echo Echo. Plug that in. Flight number today is Oscar Romeo 2579. Classic Orbit Airlines call sign there. Cost next today is going to be the 12. Now cruising altitude, flight level 350. IRS, align and confirm. Next page, 0 fuel weight, center gravity and block fuel. Let's pop open the fuel panel and let's fuel the aircraft up. Since the fuel truck's not here yet, we need... Ooh, thank you, Benjamin, for £10 there. Thank you very much. Go to plan? Of course it will. And again, massive credit to Canadian Mods, massive credit to Wasabi Sniper for putting this all together. He deserves virtually all of the credits when it comes to these aircraft. He's doing a fantastic job with these old FSX planes, so puts them to the sim, merges them with the cockpit, gets all systems working, and this is compatible with the A321X. So if you have got the A321X installed, then you will be able to run this with no problems whatsoever. Right, 0 fuel weight. We need 52.5. 0 fuel weight. Center gravity is 23.4. That's in. Block fuel on board is 860. So 8.7. Really? 8.7? Apparently so. There we go, that's all set. Right, flight plan. Let's plug in the flight plan, but before we do that, let's support the passengers and get everyone on the aircraft. So start a flight, next page, Heathrow to Moscow, Orbit Airlines 2579, cruising altitude 35,000, flight time 3 hours and 5 minutes. Time to take off about 22 minutes time to finish this. Flying an A321 with 174 people on board. There's no Wi-Fi on Orbit, I don't think. No. IFE, no. Boarding music, safety briefings, no. Servers and snacks, drinks, yes. Meals, no. For me, Orbit Airlines were always the low-cost carrier in FSX. And so, yeah, get no services, nothing special. It's a low-cost carrier. What do you expect? Let's start the boarding process. Let's get the people on board. Let's plug in our waypoints as well. So, Heathrow Airways. First point is Bravo Papa Kilo. It's going to be one of those points we need to select the coordinates. Give a few seconds to load. It's going to be that one. Following that, we fly to Digsu. And then it's Banem. Followed by Ledbo. Directs to Buckhuts. Give a few seconds. Insert that. After Buckhuts, we fly to Gastu. Following Nonsa. And then it's Asden. Give a few seconds to load. There we go. Following Bilra. And then we fly to Poken. Insert that. Inserts. From Poken, we then fly to Llama. And then it's Latme. Following Olmor. Okpan. Garek. Insert that. Almost there. Ah, fuel truck's arrived. Don't need you anymore, go away. Garek to Tignu. And then it's Lunitz. Amdor. Following Lunitz, we fly to Amdor, we fly to Olmet. And then finally, Mitsmu. That should be that. Once it loads, perfect. Thank you very much, Mushroom there, for becoming a sponsor. Thank you very much, sir. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Thank you again very much for the support. Alright, let's say hello to passengers, shall we? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome aboard this Orbit Airlines flights 2579 from London Heathrow to Moscow Sheremetyevo. Flight time today, 3 hours and 5 minutes. Weather looking nice and calm once we're at cruise, although slightly windy departure we shall be fighting against, but for the most part, it should be a nice and smooth flight. Any questions, speak to cabin crew today. I'd always hope you sit back, relax, enjoy flight Orbit today. There we go. Put up the panel brightness as well whilst you wait. And welcome aboard Orbit Airlines flights 2579 from London Heathrow to Moscow Sheremetyevo. So the A321 will be a freeware mod based on the default FSX external models. Also got the liveries as well, so got Orbit Airlines EC, it's got Wild Travel, Pacifica, and the default white livery.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, I would love to welcome you aboard our flight. When you find your seat, please be sure to place your larger carry-on items in the overhead bins and smaller items underneath the seat in front of you. Unless you're in the front row,
And have a few lights as well, just to get the aircraft all running.
If you have any trouble finding a location for your carry-on items, please let a flight attendant know and we would be happy to assist you. If the overhead bin is full after you put your carry-on inside of it,
so we've introduced the passengers. Cabin crew doing that now.
Once all your items are
Let's
put away,
plug on
please
departure.
clear the aisle and sit down in your seat to allow other passengers to find their seats as well. If If you are seated in an emergency exit row, please read the exit seating responsibilities in the safety card in the seat back in front of you. Please make sure you are willing and able to perform the actions required.
So we're expecting at runway 27 right departing, Bravo Papa Kilo 7 Foxtrot departure.
Use your portable electronic devices during the boarding process. We ask that larger electronic devices are stowed once we depart from the gate. Thank you and welcome aboard.
And also on departure, also need to remove the Charlie Hotel Tango waypoint there. Right, so insert that. Flight plan's complete. All looking good. Last thing to do is set up performance. So using flaps on takeoff, flex temp 75. Plug in at the V speed. So it's 131 rotates. So we're on the slightly heavier side today. Moscow from London would be a medium haul flight. So that's a little bit on the late side, or a bit on the heavy side, but for the most part should be alright. Do remember that the A321 compared to the A320neo is longer, heavier, and therefore requires a bit more speed to get going. Right, so well, the aircraft's fueled up now, so fuel pumps on, seatbelt sign on, and set up the autopilot panel. Grab the meta information for Heathrow. Right, whoops, go away. So it's 80 knot winds 220, 10 visibility, broken at 1000, overcast 1500, 70 centigrade, dew point 15, QNH 1000. Okay. Broken at 800. Okay, that's fine then. So set you to 1000. Speed sets to 250 knots. The A321 has a much longer range than the A320. It's built to basically compete with the 757 in terms of capacity and range, and especially the newer A321 XLR, I think it is. The aircraft can fly transatlantic with plenty of room left to fly even further. It's a medium capacity, high range aircraft, the A321. Right, so 3,500 feet rate to climb, 35,000 cruise, 250 knots below 10,000, flight directors on and on. That should be that. Right, let's start up the APU and let's get the aircraft ready to go. While we wait, the flight plan, make sure our waypoints have input correctly. Also turn the brightness as well. So far so good. No waypoints out of place. Yep, I'm happy with that. Alright, perfect. So back to arc, we'll zoom in slightly so I get a bit more review of the departure. Follow the arc around that. APU starting. And at this point, we're now waiting for the final few passengers to board, and then we can depart. Can't imagine too many more left to board, I don't think. Okay, 3 more passengers to board, that's perfect. So cabin is now pretty much ready to go. We're ready to go in the cockpits. Also, lock the cockpit door.
We're ready to go when you are.
Thank you, cabin crew. Predictive wind shear sets. That sets Tara, that's automatic. That's all fine. APU is stabilising, so we'll bring the aircraft onto that very shortly. Wait for the available lights to appear on the overhead there. This is based on the classic A320, the classic A321. A few aircraft moving around Heathrow right now, looking fairly busy here at the moment. Always good to see. And yes, I must say, as for the aircraft in the default FSX realm, Orbit Airlines, they're always my favourite, especially the 777-400 back in FS 2004. The blue and yellow of that aircraft was just, I don't know, I really liked it. Right, AP's available, bleed sets, Give it a few seconds to run through the systems. External power off. So I'm happy with the setup, cabin is happy with the setup, aircraft set. Let's us turn the beacon lights on and let us now push back from the stand. So beacon lights set, that means ground crew will now clear everything up, move everything out of the way. Jet bridge, also now disconnected as well. Thank you very much. Let's get going.
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome aboard Flight 2579 with service to Sheremetyevo. Our flight time will be roughly 3 hours and 5 minutes. Now that the cabin door is closed, please make sure that all devices are in airplane mode and your large devices are now shut down and stowed. Please fasten your seatbelt and make sure that all tray tables and seat backs are in a full upright and locked position for departure. Cabin crew.
So now at this point waiting for the tug to put pressure on nose. There we go. Parking brake released. Engine to ignition. Engine 1 starts. All looks good. Engine 2's rolling up. Aircraft's pushing back. It's a bit of a push from Terminal 3 to the taxiway, so we'll leave it a few seconds to get going.
Direct your attention to the front of the aircraft for a safety demonstration. When the
We might
seatbelt
have to
light
stop
is
the push back
on,
2
please make sure
seconds
that your
if you're
seatbelt
going
is
to taxi down
fastened
this
low
way.
and tight across your lap.
I'll
To
hold
fasten,
position for
insert the
you.
metal fittings into one another. Tighten by pulling on the loose end of the strap. To
Yes,
release
okay, so
your
hold
seatbelt,
position
lift the
here.
upper portion of the buckle. In the event that the seatbelt light is not on, we suggest that you keep your seatbelt fastened in case of unexpected. Please take a few moments to now locate one of the several emergency.
It's fine. Engine 1 is stable. Let's start up engine 2. It's PTU, the barking dog. And so yes, the A321 mod will release once we touch down in Moscow. So this is like the proving testing flight. If all works, we'll release the mod. Again, massive shout out to Wasabi for, well, being the one who developed all of this. And likewise, if you want to check his progress, check all his work, you can also follow him on his Discord server here. So that aircraft is now passed as it. There we go. Continue to push back. And also request so go turn nose to the left 27 right. Therefore request push back to the right.
Please make sure to exit the aircraft as soon as possible and leave your belongings. Once again, all devices must be in airplane mode and your larger devices must be turned off and stowed at this time. Please securely stow your personal items. Make sure your seatbelts are fastened and seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position. We remind you that this is a non-smoking flight. Tampering with, disabling, or destroying the smoke detectors located in the lavatories is prohibited by law. All of this information and more can be found in the safety card located in the seat back in front of you. We suggest reading this and letting a cabin member know if you have any questions. Thank you for flying with us again, and we hope you enjoy your flight.
Engine starting. Let's do a quick flight controls check. Make sure everything's active. Starting with the elevators. Check. Ailerons. Check. Rudder. Check. Spoilers. Check. Alright, spoilers armed. Engine ignition off. Flaps down 1. And brake sets to max. APU comes off. Taxi lights on. Anti-ice, make sure that's set as well. Not the same as like when it comes to icing, so good to have those systems turned on. Parking brake released. Let's get going. So expecting a 18 knots headwind stroke crosswind on departure today. I'm sure the aircraft won't be thrown around too much. But for the most part, should be alright, should handle the winds quite good. It's nice to have Orbit Airlines back in the world of flight sim as well. As I said, he's always my favourite people, almost always my favourite airline in the FSX in the FSX world. So nice to fly him once more. We've done World Travel, we've done Pacifica. This was the last major one to bring back. I mean, there's also SAW with the Q400s. But the Q400, that was always the AI aircraft. You can actually fly them yourself. So I'm not sure if we'll see that. Likewise, in terms of other projects that we could do, I mean, there's the 737, but with no cockpits to merge it with, the 737 we'll see about. You wait for a mod with cockpits to arrive into the sim at some points, and then what else is there to do? Maybe the Learjets. There's a whole world of FSX planes out there. It really comes down to what people want to see next. If you like my tracking link, then you can use this link here. Whoops, not you. This link here to track my flights. So IVAO whereby it's kind of like a FlightRadar 24, but dedicated to well, to IVAO. We should have priority over him, so make a right hand turn. And then on this long straight here, we'll do our pre-takeoff checklist. Also got to remember, the A321 is a longer aircraft than the A320, so got to be a little more preemptive with my turning there. This distance between the nose and centre of the aircraft a bit longer than the rest of the flight sim fleets. Cool. So, brake set to max, cabin check, takeoff config sets. With that, pre-takeoff check is now complete. So expect to departure right now, about 4-ish minutes to the end of the taxiway. And it's 3 hours and 5 minutes to Moscow today. 3 hours and 5 minutes. See a few flashing lights in the distance there, so presumably a small queue building for yeah, small queue building for 27 rights. That's the late afternoon departure slot. That the aircraft now flying out towards the eastern regions. Left hand turn here now, make our way over to the departure taxi lane. Again, it's a 131 rotate speed, so keep an eye on that on the speed ticker. Like I say, should be a good flight today. 3.5 hours, well, 3-ish hours to get to Moscow. It's a direct approach in to runway 06 right, or is it 06 full stop? 06 right. There's no start, fly straight in. And it'll be the ILS Zulu approach we're taking. There really is a bit of a short queue building at Heathrow right now, isn't there? Hopefully it won't take us too long to get us to the departure. We will keep an eye out on the Unicom feed right now, IVAO. Keep an eye on any messages that come in regarding the Heathrow departures. Passing by Terminal 2 now. And very shortly it remains Terminal 1 as they rebuild it. So Terminal 1 will be built into Terminal 2, using the more domestic and regional services out of the UK. Terminal 3 stays as short haul stroke medium haul. Thank you, Lufthansa. Will be your number 1, thank you very much. Just in case of all the other aircraft standing at hot short points there. Got one on the runway, back for parts, one holding shorts here, one holding shorts. Is that Lufthansa actually who just messaged us? If it is, then okay, that's fair then. Right, so you're departing. Wings holding short there, you've got Lufthansa holding short there, and you've got two 330s just up ahead. So you can see that A320 there, that's an A320 CEO, you have the sharklets there, and so that would be an aircraft model matched with IVAO. So IVAO as part of their metal setup have got a bunch of default aircraft models, and overall they look rather good. Alright, so we now need to wait for the aircraft there to move ahead of it. As soon as you do, you can hold short. And then make our own departure. You're looking like you're about to go now, actually, that's fine. Quite a bit of traffic, yeah. Starting to see a bit of traffic here at Heathrow today. The A321 will be a freeware mod. Releases as soon as we touch down over in Moscow. Last me Heathrow in real life. Wow, 10 aircraft before you. That's a fair bit of a queue there, I must say. The A330 would be interesting because it's possible to, well, maybe potentially port one of the defaults A330s in the sim, or potentially one of the freeware developers as well. Right, you're moving up now, so we can move to the whole short marker. And yes, this is the premium deluxe Heathrow. We are running premium deluxe today. Nope, no custom wing views, I'm afraid. Custom wing views the aircraft does not have. And so while the viewpoints do exist, so for example I'm going to showcase, I'm going to fix the camera 12 and 13. Yeah, the external cameras themselves were based on the external model, which doesn't so much appear in the aircraft, at least this one, so no external models yet, potentially maybe one thing to update in the future, but as it stands, no. So, as soon as you move off, we'll taxi into position. And that Euro is going to hold position also as well a little bit longer, so get ready for that. There's the aircraft departs now, you're going on board the departure yourself. Go. Right, landing lights set. Throttle up, and let's get going. Cabin crew, please be seated for departure. Cabin crew, please be seated for departure. We will use the shorter takeoff points ahead of us. We're not really in the wide bodies yet, so therefore we don't require the extra long turnaround just in front of us. We can use the short and narrow one. So the A321 is different from the A320 in which it's longer, has more range, and holds a lot more weight. Likewise, this is a CEO, so an original A321, while the A320 default was a Neo, so new engine option. Right, start the chrono clock. Line up for the runway. Throttle up 50%. 1 to stable. Up to flex. So 131 rotates. 19 winds really out on us today. 1 rotates. There we go, positive climb, gear up. The aircraft stable. 22 knot wind at the moment. So long, Heathrow Airport. Fly runway heading for about 1 mile, and then a right hand turn to our first waypoints. Wobbly aircraft because, well, the wind's right now is a crosswind at 36 knots. That's a very heavy wind for a takeoff. If you look at Heathrow in real life at the moment, there have been so many go-arounds recently just because the aircraft can't handle the winds right now. I don't know the name of the storm, there is a storm currently overhead, so certainly a few things to worry about. Right, flaps up, throttle back to climb. Let's get going. Yeah, so there's 22 knot crosswinds take off there. So I had to manage that with a little bit more of the rudder. Right, so the aircraft's up and stable. Activate the autopilots. And let's now climb at a rate of 3,000 feet per minute. 250 knots will do. Also, spoilers set. Yes, we've now hit 23k subs. A massive thank you to everyone that's supported the channel. I wouldn't be here without you guys, that's for sure. It's been a crazy journey these last couple of months in this sim. So I wouldn't be here, or anywhere near here, without supporting you guys, that's for sure. CFM engines, no. No. Weather, we can turn the weather radar on. There we go. At the moment it's, well, yellow, so it's kind of mild clouds. You've got a few spots for red where it gets to 0 visibility. But not looking too bad at the moment. We can easily manage that. 6,000. Altimeter set. The mod is a freeware, so once we land in Moscow, if there's no issues, no glitches, no problems, the mod will come out for release.
Gentlemen, we have now passed 2,000 feet. You may turn on larger portable electronic devices. This is also a reminder to keep your seatbelt fastened throughout the duration of the flight. do not form
Pass
a
through
line with the
10,000.
left board.
And lights off. And also reduce the rate of climb now to about 2,000 feet per minute. Speed up to 0.70. 0.6 so for now initially on the climb out. 6.5 actually will do us quite fine. So once we finish this initial turn, so now the ND there. Perfect. Let the aircraft level off, pass through this cloud, and then we'll be able to switch off seat belts. So, main difference with the Neo, you've got shark fences rather than wing sharklets. You've got the smaller original engines, in this case it's the IAEs. Sorry, IAEs? Pratt & Whitneys, no, these are the IAEs, not CFMs, for short. And that's about it really. New winglets, new engines, also a very slightly different cockpit, but not too dissimilar to that of the CEOs. So, looks good, aircraft's climbing, aircraft speeding up. We will turn off the seatbelt sign and pass it now to run around the cabin. Yes, the aircraft will be a freeware mod when it comes out. If you want to follow along with the project updates, then you can check out the Discord server there. And again, massive credits to Canadian mod Wassabi Sniper for being the one who put this all together. It's a fantastic project. It's an aircraft that everyone's been asking for, and so yeah, it's very nice to see it in the sim, that's for sure. Now passing through 15,000. Also, making a break now through the clouds. Very nice indeed. So as we navigate out of London now, flying the SID out Bravo Papa Kilo, pretty much a straight line pathway over to Moscow. Again, 3 hours 5 minutes is the estimated flight time. As always, try and get there a little bit early where possible. Increase speed to about 9.75. Download will be available once we land in Moscow, so this is like the testing proving flight. All goes to plan. It'll be ready for release. Passing through 18,000 now. So passing through flight level 230 now, 23,000. We'll bring that rate of climb now to about 1,500 feet per minute. We'll increase the speed to about Mach 0.8. Mach 0.83, which forms our cruise today. Right, so, as it stands, so past 327 now, aircraft slowly speeding up and climbing up. I now need to disappear for about 45 minutes. So we'll carry on flying, but got to do with a few family things at the moment, but yeah, so far so good. The A321's handling well at the moment. Now leaving the UK and entering over the Channel. Taking the Netherlands, over to through Germany, north of Poland, over Latvia and Estonia, and then into Russia today. So, carry on flying, ETA, about 1 in the morning, we'll see how that will go today. So, yeah, BBARB. I will have to keep an eye on the chat though, so any questions, I'll try and get back to you on the chats. But once again, massive credits to Theodore, to wassabi Sniper, to Canadian Mods, so many names, for yeah, again, being the one who put the aircraft together, put the mod together, and yeah, we've actually got ourselves a functioning A321, which is again, fantastic to see in this platform. It's fantastic to see, certainly. Right, back in a bit.
moments, our lovely flight attendants will be starting our in-flight service. We'll be serving complimentary drinks and snacks. Premium drinks are available for a small charge. Please note we only accept credit cards.
Whoops, we've, again, the max speed keeps changing. I don't know why the default A320 does that in the sim. But, let's just say airspeed changing. There we go. Gotta say though, the sim's looking fantastic. You can definitely tell. Quite stormy over Europe right now, the clouds rolling on, lumping on. No, it should be a lot good, this. Over 2 hours and 40 minutes to Moscow. Anyways, like I say, we're back in a couple of minutes now. Got to do a couple of things. BBAIB.
Right, okay, so you asked for a wing view. Now, Drawyah's gone, so you've got me, Matt Designs, once again, back on your stream. Now, how do you do a wing view in FS 2020? If you can tell me how, I can do it for you, but I have no idea what controls are, because I don't use this sim much. So how do you do a wing view then, Mr. Wally? Or James? Is there certain key commands in the menu somewhere, or...? Camera. Default maybe? No. Still view? I don't know. How do you, how long to fly? I've got no idea. It's not my flight. Camera control. Okay, camera control. So it's in here somewhere. Where? Where in this menu is the, wing view? Thank for the flight, though I have got no idea. I don't know where he's flying to. This is the top. They have 56 minutes till he gets back, I think, or 56 minutes past midnight. Oh yes, so, yes. 1 AM Zulu. Showcase. Right. There is no wing view, I think. Maybe. Oh wait. Things. There's a wing for you. I can't move the camera. No. That's a wing view, I guess. Who is this? It is Matt Designs. You might have heard of who I am. You might have not of. I don't know. How to get the mod? I've got no idea. There, you're welcome, James. I'll be in the other room. Though if you want something else in the chat, type in the chat and I'll come and do it for you, pretty much. Joy is out for the next hour, so I've been given control of his stream, which is fun, isn't it? But I'm currently working on many TOLIS related things. So I'm going to disappear. But if you want something, guys, type in the chat. I'll come back into this room and I'll do it for you, pretty much. Until Joy gets back, and then there we go. Andre, this is, I believe, either Germany or Poland, or possibly somewhere in the lower sort of Nordic region. We're going to have a look. Let's get the VFR map out. Let's get the exact location. So that would be, where's the map? There, VFR map. He is currently over... Oh, the Netherlands. Find the other way out. So it's the Netherlands then. The Dutch. Currently over, looks like Lelystad area possibly. There we go, that's where it is. Oh, wow. Sudden weather change. Okay, well, everything seems fine though. That's not a problem. See what happens. Okay, we've got a question from, where is it? Halabal23. Has Drawyah ever flown the cockpit of a real aircraft? He has. There's actually videos of that. Go to try and search for his flights from Elstree Aerodrome with flyby in the Icarus C42, I believe it would be. It's quite a video. It's worth watching. I recommend it. As for how do you get moderator, I've got no idea. The imposter in the cockpit is me, Matt Designs. You might recognise from other streams in the past. But I am, of course, not Drawyah, and that is probably for the better. Is that something the sim does then? The random weather jumps? That's a bit... It's not touching the controls. So... Okay. Yep, the seatbelt signs are indeed set to off. You can go to the toilet. Isn't that perfect? Also, why is anti-ice turned on? I mean, the Pope heat should be automatic, that's fine, but the rest of it, I guess I'll just leave it because... Let's have a look. What's the outside temperature in this plane right now? It's 17. You shouldn't really need the anti-ice because there's no cloud, but I'll leave it on anyway because he's probably got a reason for it, which is, yes, 320 is slightly over-enthusiastic icing model, let's say. There you go, seat size now off, you can enjoy walking around the cabin. Okay, I think it's time to do a step climb. We're definitely going to be light enough, so let's go to the cockpit, the flight deck, the office. Let's see if my control points work. Go to that menu, go away. There we go. Can I click things or can I not? I can! Right, let's have a look at the MCDU. How high can it go? Let's go to progress. Doesn't say. Very well, let's guess it. Let's assume... What's our weight currently? We are at 54 tons. That should be more than enough to get the 370. 370 and pull for an open climb. There we go. Let's get over this little cloud coming ahead of us, because that is a bit turbulent. That makes sense, doesn't it? Oh, set climb, let's get over it all. It's also a filthy windscreen. Drawyah should really wash his windows, shouldn't he? It's filthy. But there we go, let's enjoy this flight from a slightly high altitude.
welcome back. So, well, massive thank you to Matt Designs for keeping the flight going, at least changing the views and all that. Otherwise, yeah, back to normal. We're just over halfway now to Moscow, just over halfway there. So far, so good. Oh, welcome back Theodore as well. Just in time, I've also returned. Some satisfaction in the cabin, which is always good. Probably get a second snack service later on, which is fine. So far, so good. Flight's going well, passengers seem to be enjoying it. The A321 is acting spots right now, it's been perfect. Yeah, very little to really say wrong. One thing, what do you prefer, Theodore or wassabi or Canadian mod? What do you prefer actually? I've never asked you. One thing to try and potentially work on, because I know with the default aircrafts, for example, the shadows and the wing views on the left and right, those are generally controlled by the external model rather than the internal model. So somewhere they'd be like potentially linked by or limited by the invisible walls in the cockpit. Do you think you could possibly merge the external to the internal kind of how they do in default aircraft? For example, in that case we'll then get like the wing views on the outside or move stuff around. The shadows, well, don't appear as like all this, because the shadows right now, it's the switches and the overheads kind of shining through with the back panel non-existent. So is that possible for you, or is that a bit more advanced? The liveries will be the default livery, so, well, default FSX livery, so Orbit Airlines, Pacifica, World Travel, and the default white livery. Currently well over the Baltic Sea. Coming up, Latvia, Estonia. Still another hour and a half-ish to landing. It stands might be about 30 minutes early for where to plan. Heading back over the land now. And heading back over the Baltics once more. Let's go. Defaults here in the sim, just looking fantastic. just over halfway now. Another, well, under 90 minutes to landing, about an hour or so till landing. Although, give or take a few for the approach. Direct's in. You need to take in the, what counts for slowdown speed. Like I said, the scenery is just looking fantastic today. Past all the clouds, past all the storm. Clear skies the rest of the way. Bit hazy. Sunlight always really nice little effects to that. Just put the back up on dry. If you want to track me, the easiest way would be to use, where is it, whereby, that's 2.8, that I think it is, or 2.9. There we go. Best way to track me would be to use that link there. If you want to follow the project's developments, then you can join the Canadian Mods server here. Looking at this, I'm sure once the A321 has released, once the aircraft is out for you guys as well, get a few liveries in, a few upgrades and all that, it'll be good. So currently over Lithuania, we'll cut into Latvia and then fly virtually the rest of the way to Moscow. I am here, Andre. I am talking to you. Yes, so in terms of the Concords, the Concorde is on the way. It's just a case of waiting for the sim to actually allow aircraft to fly over Mach 1.0, which is a bit of a limitation right now, but I expect to see it soon. I'm going for fuel at the moment, so I know that, yeah, another 2,000, how should we start with? 8.616, yeah, about 2,500 kilos of fuel, 2.5 tons, we've got plenty on board for the rest of this flight. No wing views yet in the A321, although potentially something to be worked on in the near future for sure, but at a specific point in time, no, not yet. In terms of the internal model, it's virtually the same as the default A320, where there's no internal model, though like I say, there's no real wing view, no boxes for the windows, all that kind of stuff. At least not yet. have a look at our passengers, see what they're doing. So you've got the proper A321 seat map with PACX, including the gap in the middle there for the rear overwing exits. Any names? Anyone we recognise? Probably not. No Jared on board, I don't think. Read, I'm sure I've had that person before. Not even had any Jareds on board there for craft before stop. PACX, the Alan's TFDi design PACX. The names are randomly generated on PACX, and therefore it's not possible to add your own name. Although if you go to the config file, you could add your first name and surname to the list, and then hope that it one day randomly picks out of the list. But you can't like right-click edit a file or something like that. It doesn't go quite into that level of depth. Oh yes, Orbit Airlines. Here was the classic back in the days of FSX. And this is the FSX livery. Orbit Airlines back in FS 2004 had a blue and yellow livery. Blue and yellow livery, which well, actually I quite liked. I thought it was fantastic. It's like the reverse of Ryanair, where it's blue body, yellow streak, white belly. But I don't know, I always liked that livery. So it brings out more memories for me because I flew with Orbit basically all the time back in FS 2004. This is one of the classics. And it looks good in the sim as well. The reflections, the lighting. It takes what was genuinely a fairly average model, and it just looks fantastic in this. The reflections help it a lot, that's for sure. A bit of bump mapping, a few normals here and there. There you go, off a modern jetliner. I've got the pilots on board if I use drone cam for that. Let's see who's flying this thing. They don't look anyone in particular. For example, I know that in the CRJ, the captain, basically, well, spitting image of Captain Canada. These two, a bit more on the normal side. A few minor wobbles here and there where the wind is kind of backed on the aircraft. But for the most part, flying nice and stable today. What are the winds right now? It's a crosswind, only at 27 knots. Not quite as well. That's actually less wind right now up here than what we're dealing over in London. It's like a 25, 26 knot crosswind up to the 30s by about 5,000 feet. The CRJ is already in FS 2020, Marcus. There's already a through mod for it. And I've done a video on it as well. That came out yesterday. Yeah, it was made by Canadian mods, by Theo, by Wasabi. I need to pick just one name and call him that. But yeah, so he's the guy who's doing the main conversion projects of the old FSX aircraft. And well, one of the people who've actually managed to get it working with a cockpit merge, because there's a tool out there which you can port aircraft across for free. That's out there, that's known, but not many yet have been able to do a full cockpit merge as well. And so certainly looks good. Definitely works for sure. Sound mod, no, unless the A321X is using its sounds on this as well. Not that I know of. Let's have a look at the weather in Moscow right now, see if anything's updated since then. Alright, so this is interesting. So 09005. To be honest, I don't even know what this bit means. Information I've seen before. As you know, 0900 northeast. Overcast. Okay, so overcast at 200 feet. So we've definitely got at least Cat 1 weather here right now. Visibility. So visibility is 1 kilometre. So quite foggy at the moment. Slow visibility. Overcast clouds. 4 degrees centigrade, 2.4, QNH 1021, so quite high pressure as well. Yeah, it'll be quite interesting that. There's a low visibility approach into Moscow today. Actually just working. Oh, if that's the case, Seraph Aviation, try reinstalling it. If it's missing files, then reinstallation should fix that issue. About, well, ETA at the top of the screen there about 50 minutes, although taking into account the centre as well, specs arrival at the bottom of the screen, that's probably a little bit more accurate to the approach. Yes, so the shadow glitch is known and currently being looked into in terms of what can be done to fix it. Basically, it's the way the external model kind of links with the internal model. As it stands, not working, but can be added at some point for certain. In that case, sorry, Aeroflot, right-click, run as administrator. Run the core as administrator, and that should get you working. Also, make sure you've got FSUI PC running as well. FSUI PC, I believe, is a requirement of IVAO. I could be wrong. Worst case scenario, I had the tutorial on the setup for altitude, and so potentially worth looking into that as well. Please stop asking that, Andre. It's just spam. One more time, I have to remove you. There's Captain Mayday. I'm happy to help. 91% satisfaction in the cabin, so passengers are certainly happy at the moment, which is good to see. So almost finished with our crossing of Drawyah. Very shortly, make my way into Russia. I've already answered that question, Star Wars King, in response to the first time you asked that. No worries, my man. You take care of yourself. Have a good night. So again, to recap, the main differences between the A320neo and the A321ceo. So biggest difference is the winglets. We have wingtip fences rather than sharklets. Also got different engine types. So these are the CEO smaller engines. I believe these are the Pratt & Whitneys. Yes. Not IEs, I don't think. What was it IEs? I can't remember the engine options that the A321 had. I know they had CFM52s, Mark A's. Was it Pratt & Whitneys or was it IEs, the other engine option? Had two of them. There are different engine types at least. And then also the flaps. In the A318, 19 and 20, they are a single flap. In the 21, you have two flaps. They kind of split in the middle. It's a split flap. But, apart from that, nice and good. What I'd rather do, Luigi, is mute you for self-advertising for a virtual airline that I'm sure isn't going to do too well. I don't need a follow from you if that's what you're going to be like. Those are the Rolls Royces are. I forget Rolls Royce's engines as well. Yeah, you are right. Sorry, they are the Rolls Royce engine options in the 321. Yes, the lighting issue is down to the fact that the external model doesn't have a sync to it, and therefore the shadows are a bit. Basically, the back panel is invisible. The switches you can see. So, for example, if I rotate this switch, you can see the shadow moves around with it. So it's wide shadow, thin shadow. And so basically, unless we can get the external model mixed with it as well, or synced with it, then needs some adjustments. But for the most part, aircraft is flying rather fine. So yeah, so CFMs, IEs, and Rolls Royce are the engine options. And these are the Rolls Royce. I believe Fly-by-Wire are doing a cabin for the A320neo. At least there are some screenshots of a cabin in production, but that's about as far as we've seen at the moment. We've seen like a screenshot of a seat and a couple of rows of seats. Yeah, at least the Rolls-Royce engines are more reliable on the Rolls-Royce cars. Some might even setting us as well during these flights. It's quite low on the horizon. Local time plus 3 hours, is it for... Yeah, 3 hours for America, or for Russia, sorry. 3 hours for Moscow time. Plus at 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. About 5 PM local time we'll be landing in Sim. Yeah, so about sunset we'll be coming into land. Less than an hour to go now. Should be too long to get to ourselves to a Russia. It has been a very relaxed flight so far. Nothing out of the ordinary, nothing that has particularly gone wrong. So far so good. Nearly munched, aren't they? Wow, okay. Whereabouts you then? At least in the UK, it's coming up to about midnight now here. Yes, I do know the German fighter BF-109. That was the World War II Messerschmitt fighter plane. It's against the Spitfires and Hurricanes during the Battle of Britain. Oh yes, Australia, isn't it? I'm sure, do you guys do the time zone changes? I'm sure you do daylight savings as well, don't you? Because daylight savings was introduced around the 1940s. Back then, today's day Australia is part of the Commonwealth, it was part of the Empire, so I'm sure you guys do daylight savings as well, don't you? It's a very European plus former British Empire kind of thing. So a lot of countries that don't observe daylight savings, for example Russia, don't do clock changes. That's because they never had the need to. It's been 4 hours in the air for the A320's pilot's trim kick and downward trim. Ouch! What happened there for you, Alexander? Another virtual line spam on Twitch to ban. I hate banning people, I really do. It's the worst thing about these streams, unfortunately. Some people just can't respect. Yeah, daylight savings like 4th of October. Oh my god, that gets quite confusing, I can imagine. Because, well, Queensland, so Queensland, Western and Northern Territories don't do daylight savings. But, that's interesting, that. Any particular reason why? Some territories do, some don't? Any particular reason why? Some territories... Yeah, by spamming that Boeing 7477, it's not going to make me join. But instead... it's just going to leave me to ban you. So, goodbye. So go from 3 time zones to 6. That is awkward, I can imagine. At least in the EU, well, out in the EU, European countries, we're planning to stop daylight savings. This was supposed to be the last time we do it, but because of COVID they pushed everything back a few years. But for many years I've been saying that we're going to have summertime, so plus 1 hour, and then freeze it, never bring the clocks back again. That way we have the extra hour of daylight. But yeah, so it's supposed to happen this year, but they've pushed it all back because of COVID. And so interesting that. Here's a races test flight from Heathrow to Paris. If you're doing that EDS, you must hang on, let me find it. FSX Heathrow to Paris. There's a mission in FSX. Here we go, default missions. Tutorials. Here we go. Which mission was it? It was Rome to Naples. Paris Airshow demonstration. I'm sure there was a London to Heathrow one. Or Heathrow to Paris. It's Amsterdam to London in the 738. Ah, was that it then perhaps? And I think, sorry, that was done in the World Travel 73. Fair enough. I was thinking, unless that was like an F2004 mission. One mission was like London to Heathrow, London to Amsterdam, and that was done in Orbit Airlines. I was going to say, if you're going to do that flight, use the original call signs as well, but sadly I don't think so. Oop. I've just spotted. Moscow is now at the top of our ND there, which means we are now within 320 miles from arrival, so that's a good sign that we are getting close now. We're going to start our descent in about 25-30 minutes. Yes, if the Thrustmaster TCA works with the default A320, then it will work with this aircraft as well. I'm using the Thrustmaster HOTAS Warthog stick and throttle, but if the Airbus TCA Thrustmaster works by default, it will work with this certainly. The PACX now, there's no A321neo, this is an A321ceo, which comes as default in the sim. So there's no need to provide an extra PACX XML because it comes, well, it's usually standard A321ceo, works absolutely fine. But buttons don't work, well, again, it's the same cockpit as the default A320, in this case plus the A321X mods, so yes, it does work with the A321X Iron Man. Same systems as the 2NX, which is again a very nice extra bonus for this aircraft. So whatever the 20neo is upgraded, this gets it too. Yep, all HOTAS systems sold out, not just the UK, but internationally. I bought my setup back in June, back in the first lockdown, and then also before this thing came out, so I had ample time to get it, but these days, they're all sold out, and whatever is being sold goes for crazy expensive prices. It's fantastic, actually. Eventually, the demand will drop, and supply will start picking up again, but for at least another year or so, not going to go cheap, that's for sure. So for example, the HOTAS Warthog throttle and stick I've got, I bought both of these for $270. Brand new, they go for $450. These days, you're lucky to see both around $900. It's crazy how much these prices have gone up. Right now, we've just crossed the border from Lithuania and now into Russia. So again, if you want to track my flights, you can track, whoops, so that's the Discord server for the Canada mods setup. Oh, it's not working on me now. So that is the Discord server for Canada mods. This here is the tracking link. Oh no, it's not working now, is that so annoying. There you go. This here is the tracking link if you want to follow me on IVAO, which is like a Fire 24, but we are now, what, seconds away from crossing the border. combination of Star Wars Squadrons and Microsoft Flight Simulator, everybody is now buying flight sticks and HOTASs. I mean, even Thrustmaster, they've currently got a small range of Xbox compatible sticks and dottles as well. So the console market will get them as well once it's released on Xbox later this year or early next year. But yeah, it should be quite good, that. I'm afraid I'm not sure how the Thrustmaster TCA connects up Powerman, because I do not own the system. I use the Thrustmaster HOTAS Warthog stick and throttle. But yeah, for 500 Canadian, that's about 350, I want to say. That's not too bad. Microsoft Flight Sim will come on Xbox, but not yet. Not yet. Hello, A320neo. So, like I said, this is the Canada Mods A321, and so this is the latest FSX conversion that they've currently done. So this is like the testy trial flight. So I'm a tester, quote unquote, for the guy, and basically, as he gets ready to release these aircrafts, I'll do like a promo stream, show it off all that, and then once we touch down, in this case touchdown in Moscow, we'll have the aircraft link ready to share. For 7, not today, flying the A321. Nope, the A321 will be a freeware add-on, available to download for free very shortly. So again, that countdown there, expected arrival, is pretty much the countdown also when this mod releases. It's like a nice way to judge it. You can see now Moscow is slowly crawling towards us. In fact, let's program our approach, shall we? So, it's on runway 06 right Zulu approach. No star, no transition. Insert that. So approach is pretty much a straight line in. A few small adjustments close to the airport, but that's about it. In terms of radios, that's tuned into 06 right 109.10, course 75 degrees. So perfect. So let's program the performance in as well, so we've got plenty of time. So let's grab the meta again, let's do a quick update of it. Weather is... okay, right. It's 100/05, so a slight crossing, not by... whoops. Not by much, hang on, that wrong, sorry. QNH is 1021. Temperature is 4 degrees centigrade. And that's 100/05. Transition altitude 11,000. Approach speeds will be 151446. A bit on the higher end of the approach speeds, but with current winds and low visibility, always appreciated. Precision height will be 860 today. So sets. So different approaches Yankee and Zulu. Basically, different approaches determines when the aircraft will intercept the localizer. So they take in for different size, different approach routings, and basically it's just a different approach method for the same runway. And that can be anything from like restricted airspace or no fly zones nearby, terrain, that kind of stuff. that shows it looks so good. I mean, default sim in terms of lighting, weather, and all that kind of stuff. I'm using default weather, by the way, as well, rather than the Rex cloud. But, yeah, for the most part, all looking pretty standard. Yeah, IL-2's great for World War II. Likewise, I'm not in that, well, sim, it's the game, but one that's close to my heart, Heroes of the Pacific. That's another game that, well, I completed it, I had it on the original Xbox. Fun little game, that. Rise of Flights, it's a great sim for World War One. Oh, Eriton, there is a 744 mod that's already out. Made by the same developer. The first one they released was 747-400. And that one I streamed from London Heathrow to Cairo. But yes, 744 is a mod in the sim they can download. You can't send a VNAV in the sim, secret me. That's a feature that Microsoft Flight Sim does not yet do. Oh yeah, so we've programmed the MCDU for approach, but if the weather changes, we can always just pull up another METAR screen and update it. It's not a massive biggie, that. I mean, we're landing in about 30-45 minutes, so it's not particularly too far from the runway yet. One more weather updates, any updates as well we can pull in locally should be quite good. How do you know which approach you're doing? You can get it either off your Simbury flight plan, or ATC will provide you with your approach method. So things I've mapped to my HOTAS, I've got the throttle and stick as usual. I've got the braking on here. I've got medium brakes on one, higher brakes on the other. I've got the camera look-around views. I've got the spoilers and speed brakes. I've got autopilot disconnect. I've got trim. I have flaps. And those are the main things I use on the HOTAS. Camera views I use keyboard and, well, switch manipulation. Also keyboard and mouse. Human ATC already exists with the online network, so I'm using IVAO right now. Currently on Unicom 122.8, so there's no ATC nearby, but I have plenty of flights with ATC. For example, my CRJ flight yesterday, that was with ATC from start to finish. The flight dynamics in the A321 have been adjusted to suit that of the A321, so not perfect, but certainly different to the default A320. Taxiing definitely feels different because you've got the bigger aircraft to manage, so taxiing does take a little bit more effort. It's longer and therefore need to give you extra time. Welcome Joe Bovens from Holland. No wing views by default, but something that is being looked into. Hang on, it's just me checking something. I'm being a bit naughty here right now, don't you worry, Sim will come back in a second. This is just me being naughty. The aircraft will be available as soon as we touch down. It's about 40 minutes left to go till we reach Moscow. I can see the sun slowly sets behind us now. See how much of Moscow we actually get to see on the way there. No, I am not a pilot in real life. This is just simming's just a hobby for me. Default A321 sim does have TCAS, and so this will have it as well, yes. Give me a second. I know, Sim's still going. Like I say, I'm just being a bit naughty here, trying to sort something out. This works. If not, that's a bit of a problem for me. Not good at all. I'll give it another 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, that's the problem. Right, okay, so the issue here is the engine number 2 has decided to cut off on me, and there is no way of me recovering that, not on crank, not on the ignition starts. So, unfortunately, that might be show over. Which is very annoying to say the least. He's not doing anything. Probably not. Afraid not. That's the problem. Let's see. AP is running. Engine 2 bleeds. That's fine. Source method bleeds. That doesn't do anything. PACX detects an engine failure. Got near us. No, the fact is, out in the middle of nowhere in Russia, we have no airports alternative to us. Turn the airports display on, there's nothing. There are no airports here around us. Waypoints. The closest airport is Moscow at this point. Should have started it. Should have started it. AV is available, it is active. New set to ignition. Crossfeed valve active. Engine 2 starts. And to rise up to about 22.5 and then stop. Crossfeed's active. Look, set. I'm not an idiot. I'm going to spam Nick. AP's loaded and stabilized. Idle throttle won't do anything. And choice is turned on. Well, was turned on. Let's restart the APU again. So APU must be active. Wait 3 seconds. Engine starts. Available. APU set. That available light should disappear. It's not. You'll start and stop at 22, and that's what's stopped. That's it. Engine's buggered. And the fact is, one engine to fly on, but we're stuck on Toga the rest of the way. That's how close to the airport. Uniform Sorry, Victor Yankee Zulu. How big is this airport? Well, it's not that big at all because it doesn't even appear on my map. No point going there, okay. Sky Vector, what have you got for me? Even Sky Vector shows nothing around us. Sheremetyevo somewhere here. You've got that's Sheremetyevo. That's Brodega, I believe. There's a link. There won't be a link because I'm afraid this has not been a faultless stream and therefore needs more testing. You don't think I've pressed Control E yet? You don't think I've done that a million times? The ignition is doing something, but just can't get the engines to start. You don't think I'm not doing this? Backseat pilots. There is no link, Elias, for a broken aeroplane. Needs more testing. The issue is the fuel burn. That's the problem. The A321 fuel burn needs readjusting entirely. That should not have run out of fuel. We carried extra fuel for this flight as well. Activate Sully Sim. Engine 1's fine, it's engine 2 that's failed. Plane off is descending. We're losing altitude right now. Not by much, but we are losing a bit. Idling throttle doesn't help it, I'm afraid, either.
To assist with customs at our destination, flight attendants will begin handing out forms momentarily. Please review and complete these forms and keep them with you for presentation upon arrival.
The nearest airport to land is Moscow, so we're going to fly there anyway. 120 miles to Moscow.
Ladies and gentlemen, the seatbelt sign is now turned on, so it is time to return to your seats and fasten your seatbelt.
I didn't say it to fail. This is issue the aircraft. Yeah, damn, we're at 26,000 feet. No way. This was not planned, gaming. This was not planned. I have no idea how annoyed I am right now. Nope, engine shut itself off. Give it a go. The N2 to reset. Tick to 0. Perfect, right, try that again, shall we? Nice blood moon tonight. Right, so we've got fuel in the center tank now. Let's see if that does anything. No. stuck at 23 still. Can idle throttle, it won't jump it. Nope, that's not working. Okay, yeah, engine is completely dead. About 60 miles of shouts. 60 miles. Should never use spoilers on engine failure. To make it follow vertical speed, you pull on a knob. You just pull on it and that follows the vertical speed down. I've only one engine active, no use of reverse thrust today. Right, we're doing 13,000, 30 miles to go. We should land it without too many problems in Moscow. Oh, and also, just so you're aware, tomorrow we will redo this flight. We'll start a bit earlier, so next week I'm off work entirely, so what's that roughly on that? We'll start a bit earlier in the day. Try and push for a mid-afternoon flight rather than in the evening. It's like when I did the flights to New York. I'm going to do this flight, full stop. Even if it takes me like 7-8 attempts, I will do it. But we'll do it again tomorrow with the full flights. I'd say it's unintentional. It's His camera working. It was unintentional. The fuel burn is just a fuel burn thing. So again, like I say, this was a testing stream. This was a testing stream from the beginning. It was the entirety. And so stuff like that. There are bugs to point out. Few things to pick out, that kind of stuff. This was supposed to happen, kind of thing. That's the whole point of this. It's annoying. Don't get me wrong, but well. Testing, that's what you get at the end of the day, so I'm not going to fuss about it too much. At the end of the day, I've got to land the aeroplane. That's my job now. So we'll set everything up for an approach. We'll get ourselves ready to go shortly. You can see our altitude actually pretty much spot on right now. We're going to pod our altitude. 20 miles to go. We'll slow down. We're a bit on the fast side right now, that's alright. Fuel pump's automatic in this. Engage reverse thrust, probably not. Reverse is engaged, they're not going to activate in mid-cruise. Gee, it was my job at the beginning to land the aeroplane, but this makes it a bit more interesting. The fact that it's our right engine as well that's failed, this right-hand turn, not gonna help. Yeah, don't you worry, Theodore. I've got no hard feelings. It happens. It happens. Difference between A321. So the A320 has wingtip fences rather than wingtip sharklets. Has bigger engines, and the A321 has split flaps. On the A320 and 19 and 18, they just have a single flap panel. I hope you're not taking the right-hand runway, because I need that. A lot of time in real life, I'm not a pilot in real life. At least, I don't fly these. I'm generally seen in microlight aircrafts. Just one. Here, it'll be 1 minute 50 till landing if the engines were working. We're not going to be that late, so we're pretty much on time, I guess. About 15 miles from the airports. 10 miles from the airports. That's 2. This one engine's going to have to do a lot of work right now. The airport's in sight. This one engine's doing a lot of work to keep this aeroplane flying. Yeah, he's now on a different runway, that's fine. Unless he's actually gone around. Yeah, he's gone around, thank you very much. Set, approach mode set. Right, flaps 4, now or never. We have one engine. The aircraft can barely keep in a straight line. This will be interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, we are preparing for landing. Please brace. Brace, brace, brace. So that'll be, yeah, I guess it's a general.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are preparing for landing. Please brace. Brace, brace, brace.
What's the Orbit Airlines procedures? Who knows? Need to make them up, I guess. So 1,000. We need to deactivate the autopilots. Bring the rest of the way. Disconnects. Well, no missed approach altitude set because we've only got one engine we could do a go around, but not recommended to say the least. That's 140, just to slow the airplane down a bit. The left engine running. Just push the aircraft to the left, just keep it more stable. Rudder in.
200.
Oops.
100. 60, 50, 40, 30, 20. Retard. 5.
Right, straight on the brakes. No reverses, that's just going to send us off the runway.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sheremetyevo. The local time is 5:28 p.m. and it's currently about 6 degrees Celsius. You can now use your mobile devices. Please.
Well, we're in Moscow. Passengers won't appreciate the engine failure, that's for sure. Have a look. Yeah, 61% satisfaction. Engine failure, extreme flight conditions, little extreme, recommend you at work. Can't believe the engine just quits. Nothing for you like drinks. It was a flight. It was a flight. If you want to view the record, you can do so here. Like I say, so the plan is, we'll do this flight again tomorrow. I'll speak to Theo, we'll get some fuel flow adjustments and all that, figure out what happens to the fuel burn there. Yeah, we'll see, we'll make a few tweaks. Tomorrow, we'll do the flight again, so London Heathrow to Moscow. And fingers crossed, tomorrow shouldn't have any fuel issues. It's getting there. It's getting there. Alright, well, sorry about that, guys. We're expecting a bit more of a full flight in today, but unfortunately, cut short over the Lithuanian border. So, no link, not going to send a link to a broken aeroplane. We'll get the fuel flows adjusted. We'll see what we can do about the shadows as well, actually. I'll speak to, there's a few tweaks to make, there's a few adjustments, tomorrow I'll do it again. But again, sorry about that, guys. We'll plan something out again tomorrow. So we'll do an early stream tomorrow, we'll figure it all out, we'll get it all working. Yeah, such as... Well, you take care of yourselves, enjoy the rest of your Sundays, or Monday in the UK now. I shall see you again soon.